Are we finally getting Final Fantasy VII Remake on other platforms such as Xbox or potentially even the Nintendo Switch? Or could we finally be getting Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core on modern platforms? One leaker's cryptic tweet has everybody trying to figure out what's going on. So let's figure it out. Welcome back to Pixel Positive Gaming, and if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button below. It helps me out a ton in my goal to build a community where we can just have fun, positive discussions about video games, and we can get all analytical, and sometimes we can just have fun. So let's get into it. So I don't know if you guys have come across this new leaker on Twitter. He's known as The Snitch. He's at insider_WTF. But he just started, I think last week or the week before. He's I think just a couple weeks old, this account. We have no idea who it is. His follower count is climbing. He's followed by a lot of prominent media figures in the industry. This guy so far has had a very, very good track record. He leaked the entire PlayStation State of Play with dates. He leaked that Persona 3, 4, and 5 were potentially coming to other platforms or coming back in some form. So those are some pretty big gets that a lot of people were not quite in tune with, but he had the information. So we don't know who this leaker is. So obviously with any leaker, you should always take it with a grain of salt. But this one I think is a little bit different. He today posted a picture of Zack from Final Fantasy VII. Zack appears to be holding Cloud, which would be reminiscent of the ending of the Final Fantasy VII prequel Crisis Core. And he also, in this tweet, he posted 4 colored squares: blue square, green square, red square, and a black square. So the take that a lot of people have is that we are potentially getting Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to multiple platforms tomorrow at the Final Fantasy VII stream. The green being Xbox, the red being Switch, which I guess if they did a Switch version of this game, it would have to be running on the cloud, no pun intended. And then the black being Steam, because the Final Fantasy VII Remake on PC was exclusive to the Epic Games Store. And then blue, of course, is PlayStation. That's one theory. Another theory is that, and this is the one I'm kind of leaning towards, is that this is actually going to be an HD port, maybe a remake. I doubt a full remake, but some sort of port of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. Now, if you're familiar with Final Fantasy VII, you know that Crisis Core is the prequel where you play as Zack. He's a minor character in the original release of Final Fantasy VII, but he has a major impact on the events leading up to the game. Very big impact on a lot of our characters, including Cloud and Aerith. And, I mean, he has a very important role in the story overall. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is currently only available on the PlayStation Portable. It is not even available digitally, so you can't even play it on a PlayStation Vita or a PlayStation TV. So this game getting a modern port would be wonderful. Final Fantasy fans like myself have been begging for this for years. Some sort of availability of this game that we could get it legally, without having to do anything suspect. So I think it's very possible that we're getting a port of this game. The only thing that kind of has me scratching my head about that is why would they port the prequel to all platforms but not Final Fantasy VII Remake? So it kind of leads to the third possibility, something I've been thinking about. I don't think that we're going to get any information on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I think Square Enix is going to kind of hold off until after we get Final Fantasy 16 for that. But what if we're going to get DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake? We already saw this happen. Final Fantasy VII Remake originally released on PS4 back in 2020, and then we got the PS5 version with the Intergrade version with the Intermission DLC, where we got to play as Yuffie. So maybe we're going to get a multi-platform announcement along with the release of another DLC, where we play as Zack. Maybe this is a DLC that covers the events of Crisis Core, maybe in like a shortened fashion, or maybe this is just a new story that has to do with the changes that were made in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. it's very possible, I think. While I don't really want them to do more DLC, I just want part 2 of this game. If part 2 is not ready, but they still want to deliver us new content, this would be a good stopgap type solution. So I think, I don't think that this is just Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to multi-platforms. I think this is going to be new content or Crisis Core. And obviously, I'm just going off of what this leaker says, that we could get nothing, although Square Enix has been hyping up this Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream that is happening tomorrow, and it's only 10 minutes long, but they still announced it. They still said that it's only 10 minutes long, but that it's going to be jam-packed with announcements. So that tells me that we're going to get something. Now, there's been a lot of theories for a while that Final Fantasy VII Remake would be coming to Xbox. There's not really a reason that it can't. From what we've heard, the exclusivity agreement ended last year in December. It got extended for 6 months or so with the Intergrade edition, and so the exclusivity is over. So there's no reason it can't be on Xbox unless there's some sort of deal that we just don't know about. The Switch is kind of throwing me for a loop, though. I really didn't think they were going to do this on Switch, but if it's Crisis Core and it's a port, it can run natively on the Switch. And if this is some sort of DLC or the actual remake of Final Fantasy VII, then it would have to be a cloud version on the Switch. There's no way they could get this thing running natively on the Switch. And then, of course, PC makes sense. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure what I'm hoping for in this situation, because I have not played Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core in many, many years. I would love to revisit that game. But at the same time, that game is very old. It's very dated. So seeing it in like DLC form for Final Fantasy VII with the full fidelity of that game, with all the new combat features and everything else, that would be incredible. So if we get some sort of Crisis Core story as DLC, I think that would be pretty acceptable. I think we would be pretty excited about that as well. All I know is I want something. I'm always hungry for more Final Fantasy. So, I mean, if they give us whatever they give us, I'm excited for it. So, yeah, what do you guys think? You guys think that this leaker is legit? You think that we are going to be getting multi-platform release of Final Fantasy VII Remake? Or do you think this is Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core coming back? Or is it DLC? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, please hit that subscribe button. Helps me out a lot in my goal to build a community where we can just talk about games and have fun in a more positive environment. The internet is just filled with toxicity and negativity. The gaming industry in particular, it can be very difficult to stomach. And I mean, we're all here because we like video games. So even if we don't play the same platforms or play the same games, we have that in common, that we do like video games. So we can have fun with it. So if you guys, want to be a part of that community, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, like the video, follow me on Twitter, which, there's links on the profile to get to Twitter, and just, let's just continue this. Let's talk about games, and we will follow up tomorrow to see what comes from this. So until next time, guys.